Hello everybody, welcome to today's English class. It's so hot outside and sunny, isn't it, at this noontime? In the morning there was rain, it was cold, but now it's sunny and hot. It had been raining since 5 a.m. when I left home to come here. So, can you tell me what you did last evening when you were at home? Before dinner? After dinner? Before you went to bed? And can you tell me the length of these activities? With this information, we can form past perfect, progressive, or continuous tense. So, I'm waiting for you. Please tell me what you did last evening. So, for example, I played piano for 1 hour before dinner. So I can say I had been playing piano for an hour when the dinner was ready. Or, for example, I studied for 2 hours before going to bed after dinner. So I can say I had been studying for 2 hours before I felt sleepy. Another example, for example, I brushed my teeth and readied my stuff. So I can say I had been preparing my stuff and brushing my teeth for half an hour before I went to bed. So you see, today we will learn to form structures using past perfect, progressive, or continuous. So, as you see, we're describing two events. We have two events. An event started before another event and had been taking place while the other event has occurred. Now I want you to take a look at the timeline on the board. So you can see there are two events. One event started before another event and has been taking place for some time when the other event occurs. So let's look at our timeline. So here we started waiting at 7 a.m. It's in the past. We started waiting at 7 a.m. At 10 a.m. the bus arrived. So we are not waiting anymore. Now it's 11 a.m. It's present. So we say I had been waiting for 3 hours when the bus arrived. I had been waiting for 3 hours when the bus arrived. So it means before the bus arrived, I was waiting for the bus for 3 hours. So now let's go over our first presentation. There is the structure of past perfect continuous. The positive form is made like this: subject, had, been, and the ing form of the verb. So you see, they had been playing tennis. When we use negative, we use not after had or had. So you see, there's only had. There's no third person or first person, has or had form. Only had, since we use it in the past. And we use not after had to make it negative. And if we want to make it in question form, we take had to the beginning of the sentence. So we use had they been playing tennis? In the positive, we say they had been playing tennis. And if we want to make it negative, we say they hadn't been playing tennis or had not been. Usually we shorten it. They hadn't been playing tennis. So if we want to make it question, we say had they been playing tennis, taking had in the beginning of the sentence. So let's take a look at the usage of past perfect continuous. We use past perfect continuous or past perfect progressive, in other words, to describe a past action already started and continued up to another action or time in the past, as we used in our examples. Let's give another example for this. Boys had been playing soccer for about an hour when it started to rain. So when it started to rain, they stopped playing. We also use past perfect continuous to express the duration before something in the past. For example, Richard needed a holiday because he had been working hard for 6 months. So we express the time duration. We also use to describe the cause of something in the past. For example, he was tired because he had been jogging. His tiredness depends on the action he has done. He had been jogging, so he was tired. So you see, that's why we use past perfect continuous. So now let's move on to our second sheet and see the structures again. So we mentioned positive, negative, and the question forms before. So please take a look at again to clearly understand it. So I guess you all have read. So we can move on to our next sheet. So let's see our examples. First example. They had been talking for over an hour when Scott arrived. The first action is them talking. Then Scott arrived as second action. When Scott arrived, they had been talking for over an hour. There's a time duration for over an hour. In our second example, she had been working at that factory for 3 years when it went out of business. So the factory closed, but before the factory closed, she worked there for 3 years. We mentioned the duration. The third example is in the question form. How long had you been waiting to get on the train? So you see, it's the question form. The fourth example. Scott wanted to sit down because he had been standing all day at work. So this describes a reason why he wants to sit down. He had been standing all day at work, so he needs to sit down. It describes a reason. So I believe you can do on your own the second practice sheet. Please read the first 2 examples in the beginning and fill the other 3 examples depending on the first 2 examples using past perfect continuous. So I'm waiting for you. You can do. So with our third practice, you will use past perfect continuous to describe reasons for other events. Which event resulted in which events? So can you please do the examples? I'm waiting for you, so we can go over some of them together after you finish. So I guess you're finished now. So let's go over some of them together. For example, third one. Their clothes were muddy. We will depend on the reason of one action to another. So their clothes were muddy because they had been playing football. The reason why their clothes are muddy is they were playing football. So we say their clothes were muddy because they had been playing football. Another one. His ear ached because he had been talking on the phone for hours. He used the phone too much. He was on the phone too much, so his ears ached. So let's do the last one. She was very scared because she had been watching a thriller on TV. So she watched a thriller on TV, so she was scared. So you see, we describe the reason of one event by another event in the past. So I believe you mostly understood the lesson. So I believe you can do the practice 4 as homework at home. You can bring it for our next lesson and we can check it. I believe you can do it. I trust you. So let me do one of them for you. When Melanie came into the office yesterday, her eyes were red and watery. I think she... What do you think? What? Yes, true. That's true. When Melanie came into the office yesterday, her eyes were red and watery. I think she had been crying. That's true. The reason of her eyes being red and watery is she cried. So that's the reason of her eye situation. She had been crying. True. Okay, I believe you can do the rest at home. So, for the production stage of this lesson, let's do an exciting activity. Now, I want you to form 3 groups, 3 different groups. So, I have given you a list of production for past perfect continuous. Using this list, I want one group to make affirmative sentences and one group negative sentences and one group question sentences. So you will use past perfect continuous to make sentences, but one group will make affirmative sentences, another group will make negative sentences, and the last group will make question sentences. I guess it's all clear. So you may begin. For example, let me do the second one for you in all 3 forms. Cook when she arrived. So positive form, I had been cooking when she arrived. Negative form, I hadn't been cooking when she arrived. And in question form, had you been cooking when she arrived? Had you been cooking when she arrived? So you see, I'm waiting the rest of it from you. Okay, you may start. So I guess you're all finished. Before we finish our class, let's go over once again why we use past perfect continuous, the usage. We use it to describe a past action already started and continued up to another action or time in the past. We also use it to express the duration before something in the past. Or we use it to describe the cause of something in the past. So we use it for 3 reasons. I guess you are now clear with all of this. So, thank you for today's class. Okay, now I want you to write your own ideas about today's class and what you would do differently if you were the teacher of this class. I hope you all had fun in this class and you understand the lesson very well. Please feel free to state your feelings. There's no offense taken. So, were you bored or did you have fun? So, you have any suggestions for this class that you said you would do differently? I'm waiting for you to write down. I'm thanking you for all your opinions. So, today we're done. Thank you for all your participation and listening. I hope you enjoyed this class. See you in our next class. Goodbye.